Hello and welcome to episode 13 of Stoneblock 2. Guys, we've got some good plans for today. We're going to go out and take our first stab at some of this farm work. But first, there's a couple other side things that I want to get to. First off, I just wanted to show this off. Look, our iron's full. Yeah, basically. Minus some stuff that I've used. From the gravel farm, like in addition to all of this mess that we're getting, we are getting iron. Let's see, we're getting tin, lead, copper, aluminum, and osmium. Nickel, gold, and silver we do not get from this. We were getting it from doing the dust and I think the sand? Maybe just the dust. We've also got a fair amount of emeralds and diamonds, so we're kind of set up for some success here. Also full coal, that's nice. The first thing about today is that I do need a little bit of netherrack, and you can see that I've replaced the top level of shelves here. I took out the 4x4s because I just honestly don't see myself using very many of them in the first storage area, so I just popped out some singles. So we're going to go down below here and look at a little bit of a system that I've done. Got stuck in a wall. There we go. There we go. So I cleaned all this up, and I put in the Ender IO conduits to do the stone, the fluid stuff, the lava back and forth. So this is a little bit more clean looking. And then I moved the obsidian production because at this point we have so much of it. Like, I didn't look at the shelf. We'll look at it in a second, I guess. But I mean, like, it's in the 50K region. So yeah, we just don't need any more of it. So I moved it over here, and I've got a mechanical user. Now this, I've shown you how to craft it before, but we're also getting it from the loot bags. So we kind of have income on these. So I'm going to use them around just a little bit. And the main thing is that I want to make a little bit of netherrack. And the way that you do it in this pack is you fill up a stone barrel with lava, pretty much exactly the way that we were doing when we were producing the obsidian, except then you right-click it with that. There we go, and that produces netherrack. Now, I don't need a ton of this, so I don't need to set up like an automatic production type thing. I did drop a line here, but I don't know if I'll actually use it, because really what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fill up this mechanical user with redstone when I want more netherrack, and then I'm just going to let it pop out. And of course, this is just being caught in here because it's got the advanced item collector on it, so just as it pops it out, we get it, and then it's being transferred into the system because we have made a storage drawer for it. So, yay, income of netherrack at will. Could be permanent, but just probably won't be because there's not really a reason for it. I've also started, as we get them, putting the specter coils onto the flux plugs here. So in addition to whatever we're getting from lava power, which of course you can see is all entirely backed up, we're not using any lava power really, except for just tiny amounts of it that kind of trickle out. We are getting an income of 128 RF per tick from each one of these things, and we've got 2 on each of these plugs. So, you know, that's a good bit of power right there in and of itself. So we're doing fantastic there as well. Our power production is getting kind of good, which is why I don't think it's going to be such a big deal for me to try to do a little bit more automation outside here. I do want to say that I've got to go ahead and figure out where we're going to do it, if nothing else, just to drop a line, because this chest is completely full. So if I wanted to use this for all of the farm stuff, which was what I was envisioning when I made it, I can't, because it's full of this stuff, because this is producing at such a good clip that it can't keep up. Like, it literally can't. And then the rest of this I want to get importing as well, so that way we just have constant income of it. Now, right now, these trees are auto importing. Like, I just have them hooked up with some item conduits down below. So that's being pulled off into our system, but we need to make a space for this and these types of things, and also for some of this, and I've kind of got a decent idea for it. So we're going to take a stab at that today, but I need to get a few things ready, and then we will come back and take a look at what I have got going, guys. So give me some time to prepare, and I'll have you back in just a moment. Alright guys, so I've got a concept kind of thrown together here. We're about to turn around and take a look at it, but I just kind of want to do it like a big reveal. And remember, caution blocks is temporary blocks. Bam! Alright, so what I want to build essentially is a huge greenhouse. Like the kind you'd see people put up for their gardens or for plants that they want to grow that require some kind of a specific humidity or temperature. I'm sure that you guys are familiar with what greenhouses are. But basically, this is the kind of design that I was working with. So this is going to be our entrance. It's just like a, little 5 by 5 by 5 kind of thing. And then this is going to go across the whole top area. I just didn't want to build any more than I had to. So I built the basic shape and then threw the one block that I needed to show off. And then over here, now, almost unilaterally, greenhouses are gigantic square boxes with triangle roofs because triangle roofs are what catch sunlight. From the different angles, that's the reason that they're built the way that they are built, as far as I understand it. But I thought just putting like a big single triangle across the whole thing, it looked pretty boring. And so I was like, oh, well, let's build multiple triangles, basically. So that's what I did. I've got, this one is going to be like the outer limit, or outer edge. And that's also going to be what's on this side here. So it's going to be like kind of symmetrical in that way. Because this is going to be another one of those right there. And my idea is that this is going to be kind of like a viewing area, where inside of the main greenhouse sort of zone, we'd have a wall all the way down along here, and then it's filled in with glass, and then we'd be able to look at all of the stuff that we are growing inside of our garden cloche, whatever. We'd be able to see them growing as we are hanging out in the greenhouse. This path is just going to go off into nothingness, and then, we could build this here, and maybe we'll build something out here, maybe we'll build something out here. This just gives us kind of a path away from our base. For the entrance here, I just kind of squared it off and then brought down a wall for the moment. I haven't really figured out what I want to do with this, but I do kind of want to have a fake sort of air seal type thing like what we have over here, where essentially this operates as like a way in and out of the base where things would not be able to get in without the door being opened. I want to kind of do either the same thing here, or I might just make this like a big long like actual tunnel, where you'd be going off in this direction and you'd come to this and then you'd enter through here and there'd be a door here instead of a door here, or maybe there'd be a door in both locations. I haven't really decided yet. I pulled out some different types of glass. So this is the clear glass that we got from Tinker's Construct from melting it inside of the smeltery. And I gotta be honest, I just really don't like this texture. Number one, it's super duper clear, which some people would consider an awesome thing because that means it's clean glass, right? But really, it doesn't look like there's anything there. So when you're sitting here and looking at this and seeing through it, you're like, oh, I just grab it on the other side. Oh, I just can't. But the only reason you can't do it or would be able to tell is because there's this black outline around the block, thanks to the way Minecraft highlights stuff. So this is the quite clear glass. This is made in the Ender IO alloy smelter. If you smelt down glass as an alloy, or if you smelt down sand, I think as an alloy, this is what it will just produce by default. And I do like this a little bit better. It's still super duper clear, so you still can't really tell it's there, but it does have a kind of better border. But I think honestly, for the internal glass in between the garden cloche and also the main area, I think I'm just going to go ahead and go with the steel framed glass. Now it does have the streakies, which I don't necessarily like, but they are a little toned down versus normal Minecraft vanilla glass, just a little bit, and that helps. But also the steel border is like a lot more noticeable, and so it'll really, really look like something is there, which is kind of the point of what we're going for. Honestly, when we're growing something inside of the garden cloche, there is nothing except for this kind of stained glass look to it. So if there's a little bit of streakies in between us and them, they will add to this sort of effect, and it'll look like there's definitely something going on, and it's definitely outside of reach because we've put it behind a glass wall. It's something to be seen and not touched. We can set the cables up all along this side, so that way they'll be kind of out of our view, but not really. Eventually, we could paint them to something that's translucent or transparent. Transparent. That's what I want. Completely unseen. You can paint the conduits with conduit facades that are just completely transparent, and so it'll look like there's nothing there, and that might be a route that we go down. It's just not something that we're going to be able to do at the start because we haven't even gotten into the painting stuff, although that is something that I'm interested in, so we will get into it eventually. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking that we're going to do. So I'm going to try to do a sort of a mock-up here with a few blocks, maybe get a palette together. I don't want it to look vastly different than this, but I mean, like, really, most greenhouses are straight up glass with a little bit of frame around them. I do want the frames for the bottom and the top and the walls to be stronger than glass, though, so I'll have to look at something that maybe matches this border. And the very outside of it, I do want to use this more sturdy looking glass, the ornate steel, because the double framing kind of adds to that level of like, this is secure glass versus the normal stuff. And I think that the double streakies from this ornate steel and then also this steel framed glass will add to that sense of distance that you would get by looking into it, so adding depth to it, but also it'll definitely allow you to see that it's further away than anything else you're messing with. So let me try to scratch together a block palette and we'll see what I can come up with. Alright, so concept is that I wanted to find something that had a block palette that sort of matched with the steel framed glass and also the ornate steel glass. And yeah, so unsurprisingly I went with a steel block. The steel sheet metal is pretty good. There's nothing that matches just straight up. Lead gets close. Nickel is kind of close, but not really. So the steel is, I mean, like, it does match several of the individual pixels. So that's what I went with. And then over here, I kind of started throwing it down in real format. So here's half the structure with the ornate steel glass in the windows there. And then same thing over here. I used the steel framed glass for the tiles because the ornate steel maintains this like singular texture, like this one single block of it. So like this side. It retains this texture, but for each thing, and so I wanted it a little bit more open, but not necessarily like a ton more open, and so I went with the steel framed glass, so that way it kind of gives us that glass embedded inside of a wire frame that I was talking about earlier, that looks like all glass houses ever. And originally I had like this tile as the glass as well as this tile, and then I thought that that wasn't really enough of a line of steel to kind of make it make sense. If I could just have, like, seriously this part, like just this line as steel, I would, but since it does have to branch out into this entire block space, making that sort of diamond shape from the top, I just went with more steel around it to make it match up a little bit better here. Now my plan, of course, is to fill this stuff in kind of the same way that I did, and then this frame is all going to be steel on the lines, and then in between here, so like from this block, this one to this one here is going to be the glass stuff, but these are going to continue to be the steel ones, because every so often you can see I've placed a spacer, and all the spacers are going to be like steel reinforcements, and that's just to make it look a little bit more structurally sound. Even though we don't have to do that, it's one of those things that it just kind of makes sense for us to do. So yeah, this being the palette that I've kind of decided I'm going to work on it a little bit, and we'll come back and we'll take a look at it and then see if there's anything else we need to do to finish out the episode. So let me get to building. Okay, so I know what you're thinking. You're looking at this quest menu here and you're saying, dang it, completed quests without us. Well, I'm sorry, is all I can say. I had to make the Prudentium Essence and the Tier 2 crafting seed because I needed fire seeds, because I needed sand, because glass was pretty integral to my build. So we'll go ahead and claim these rewards. Let's see, we get a building gadget, which I don't know how good that is. And then we got a entity detector, another one of those. Yeah, same thing. Kind of not super duper sure about what that does. Anyways, you guys ready to see it? Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I worked a good bit on this. You can kind of see some of the stuff if you look up at the mini map. I hope none of you were looking there. Anyways, so boom, this is it, right? So I went with more like an industrial farm look rather than a greenhouse, and it's still got several of the elements because it's got like the glass in the roofs in the kind of triangle fashion. I didn't want to do like a straight up big triangle. I really I thought about it. Like the first build that I had was like here to here, just big triangle, and then I was like, nah, we're gonna split this out a little bit. We're gonna keep some of the same elements without actually, you know, just doing triangle, because this, if we cut off the two sides, this is every greenhouse picture I ever saw right there. It's the little kind of round entrance down here, and then the triangle roof, and then it goes straight back in a big long rectangle. And so several of the elements we kept, you know, big long rectangle, but we split it out a little bit, and of course we put in the glass to kind of differentiate the roof. Now back here, it actually curves around and then meshes up with the top and then goes back down and then curves again. I'm not going to say exactly that I'm proud of that, but I definitely struggled to make anything accomplished there. And then we put in the garage doors, because these are just rapidly becoming the door of my build, and I also really, really like them. But then I pulled a little sneaky on you with a sneaky button. Boop. So this is a thing from Dark Utilities. Basically, you have to craft up a sneaky block, which is right here. And you get, per craft, I think you get quite a bit of them. Yeah, you get 8. And it's just any stone with one of these dwindle charms. And these dwindle charms come from any slime ball and a wither dust, which of course we're getting wither dust with our mob farm because of the way that we put down the witch water so that all the skeletons turn into wither skeletons. And then you craft this with a normal Minecraft button, and you get a sneaky button. And then when you place it down, I can actually just show you again. Let me grab a steel sheet metal block here because I need the block to be able to give it the appearance right. So if I break this, enters my inventory as this little black button, and if I place it down, this is what it looks like in the world. And then if I right-click it with this block, it takes on the appearance of whatever block it is. Now, with combined textures like these, it does not work because it does become its own single block. So it looked like as if I had placed down just one of these. That's what it looks like. But it does work for in a few places in my build. But yeah, if we click this, you can see the garage door goes up, and then we can close it from the inside. And because the garage door only takes up like a half space, we can also click it from the inside too, so we can come back out that way. So this is what the inside looks like. I've got the kind of the continuation from out there, the laboratory block floors, and then the dark oak wood planks, and then I've got the podzol in here. I'm not sure about the podzol, but it has a lot of variety in its color, and so it looks kind of nice in here. And then I got the glass walls. I used the internal glass, right, from our previous discussion. This is just the steel framed instead of the ornate steel. I've got it going all the way around, and then we can look at the stuff that's being farmed back here, because once you get the cloches set up with whatever crop it is, unless you want to change the crop, it's very crop. Unless you want to change the crop, it's very set it and forget it. So it's cool to be able to look at because you can obviously see the growth cycles are going on, but it's not something that you need to interact with on a big basis. But if we do want to interact with it, I've got a way around that too. This is for if there's something I need to grow. Like I have been growing Botania flowers, just a little bit to use for dyes. Um, and then let me show you what I did over there with the cloche, the cloche. If we come down here into our tunnel, uh, over here I've got some brown elevators, and I bet that looking in the glass you didn't even notice those, right? Ha, they don't stick out at all, right? They blend in with the puzzle so good. Anyways, I've got just basically them facing this way, so that way the connections are on the back, so when you're looking straight up you don't really notice them. And then another thing that I noticed as I was messing around is I was looking at light sources, and the Ender IO inverted lights, which just emit a light signal the whole time instead of needing a redstone signal of any kind, they fit perfectly on top of the garden cloche. So I used those as my light source. I just made a lot of them because like redstone and glass and glowstone is the required materials. Glowstone we get from our mob farm, redstone also from our mob farm, but we're also harvesting it right here with this red orchid. Yeah, the seed that we found by doing plant stuff in grass, I think, or maybe we found it inside of the mining dimension. I think I found one growing there too, and then you grow it on a redstone ore, which of course we've got the silk touch hammer, so that's how we were able to grab the ore and put it in here, and it just grows. I mean, like, it grows crazy fast. I mean, it's only producing one redstone at a time, but I mean, its growth cycle is pretty quick inside of a cloche. But yeah, so that's what the farm is gonna look like from thus forward. I'm gonna move the tree stuff in here. Since I did have them kind of surrounded by podzol before, that's why I went with the material, if I'm being honest. So yeah, I'm gonna move them in here, and I'm probably going to make little plinths, if you will, like not exactly a garden cloche mock-up in a bigger size, but something to put them on that's not just having them be on the ground, mostly because it's boring and it looks bad. Anyways, so I'm going to move those in here, but yeah, that's going to be it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the episode. We're going to do just this last thing, of course. We're going to open up 10 of our legendary loot crates, because that's just going to be kind of how we close stuff out from now on. So yeah, let's just one at a time. Boom. We got ourselves an advanced item collector. 2 draconium blocks. That's cool. Getting us a good start. Another tier 3 growth crystal. An item barrel connector. So this is the barrels mod. Yabba made a return. I think it was Jabba before. Just another barrel something. But yeah, so this is like an updated version. So they work, as far as I understand, kind of similar to the storage drawers, but I'm not sure what the exact differences are. We may have to check that out a little bit later. The barrels are actually one of the quest lines, so, I mean, at some point we'll have to look at it. We got ourselves 2 more Insanium Essence. That's cool. 16 reinforced obsidian. That's what we used for our wither farm. You may or may not remember. Another item barrel connector, a 2 blocks of terra steel. Wow, that's fantastic. We between that and the black orchids, we can skip just like almost all of Botania, and I'm kind of happy about that, if I'm being honest. I love Botania. I totally love it. It's a fantastic mod. I've done it a lot though, so skipping over big portions of it is great. Another item collector, and then another Solium dagger. So yeah, nothing too stand out except for this terra steel. It's pretty darn cool. But yeah, so if you enjoyed the episode, please leave a like down below. It really makes me feel motivated to keep going. Also, if you are new, please subscribe, because there's lots more of this coming, and this is sort of the expectance on builds. I might try to do a little bit more of it on camera next time, because I did have to do just a lot of work by myself to actually get this thing up and going. Particularly getting these angles done this way was it was a challenge to figure out how it worked, but I got there. Also, you know, there's a notification bell down there. If you'd like to click that, and then you don't even have to check if I have new episodes, it'll just tell you. But yeah, guys, we'll see you in the next episode. Hope you're having a great day. Later!